This is Matt with Mel Express Radio. I have with me Pat of Fit For An Autopsy. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thanks for joining me.
Good to be here.
Hey,
I'm
good.
actually doing band stuff again, so.
The band's new album, Oh What the Future Holds, is set to be released January 14th. What can you tell fans about the upcoming album?
I mean, it's just typical Fit For An Autopsy, trying to, move forward with adding to our sound and doing a little bit more. The record is super heavy, but, melodic at the same time, and we're just really excited to get new music out, get people's ears on it.
How was the writing and recording process having this being the band's sixth album?
I mean, we kind of stick to the same process we've always done. I mean, it just works for us. Will doesn't tour with the band, so he's got a lot of time to be home and focus on writing and doing things, and it's just kind of the typical thing that we normally do.
And with 6 albums under the band's belt, how has it been seeing the band evolve and grow?
I mean, honestly, we are at a point now in our career where it's unexpectedly better than we had ever expected, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where we never really thought we would get to the point that we're at now, so it's always awesome doing bigger tours, playing bigger shows, and, our music getting more ears on it and getting people to pay more attention is always great. You know what I mean? So it's surprising and awesome all at the same time.
How would you compare this to the band's other previous 5 albums?
I mean, it's an evolution of the band. We kind of always try to push forward and do different things musically, try to, add to what we have as an arsenal of styles of music, and we don't really try to pigeonhole ourselves. So it's what you can expect, but, it definitely goes in a couple different directions, but that's what we always try to do. Try to take the band to the next level, musically, and, add, I guess, different elements of things to it, so it's got a broader spectrum of sounds, and it definitely does on this record, just as much as, each one to the next one has.
The band has recently released a handful of singles from the album. Do you feel these songs give fans a good idea on what to expect from the full length?
I would say yes. It definitely gives a good view of what to expect, because each one of the singles is a little bit different. But there are some, cuts on the record that weren't chosen as singles that are pretty hectic and pretty cool, and I think people will be surprised to see that the whole record stands up to all of the singles that have been released.
The band will be taking part in Trivium's upcoming streaming show. How did this come about?
Well, we were supposed to do a tour with Trivium, and it was supposed to be a European tour, and it got postponed a bunch of times, and just a bunch of lines got crossed, and unfortunately, we weren't able to do that tour, so we started discussing other ways that we would be able to work together, and Trivium offered it to us as a way to say, hey, we support you, we want to see you doing good, so come do this thing with us since we can't do this tour together. And they gave us a really great opportunity to, do a live stream and help to get a lot of people seeing what we do, because they have a huge following. So they were really cool and offered it to us, and we jumped at the chance. It was pretty crazy how it came about. It was super last minute, but it worked out. We're excited to see where it goes.
And how do you feel about that? Because obviously it's 2 completely different sounding bands. Trivium kind of not as intense as Fit For An Autopsy, I would say.
Sure. Well, we've toured with Trivium a bunch of times, and, metal is one of those things, like, metal fans either love metal or they love one type of metal, right? It's like every other type of music out there. You have people that either love all of it or they only love one corner of it. It just seems to be one or the other. And I would say a lot of Trivium fans are open to more aggressive music. I think the last time they did a live stream, that band Silosis did it with them, and they're a much more aggressive band, and it worked out really well. We did some touring with them and While She Sleeps and Arch Enemy, and that tour was really great, and then we went out and supported them on a small headliner. So anytime we've ever worked with that band, it's been like really, really great, and Matt and all those guys are super supportive and really, really awesome, so it was just kind of a no-brainer. It just worked out, and, it seems like it shouldn't work, but for some reason, their fans really do enjoy heavier stuff. So it worked out for us.
The band will be heading over to Europe for a headline tour early in 2022. What are your expectations on the upcoming tour?
We're hoping that the European thing happens. We have a U.S. headliner in the States first, and then we'll be doing some other touring around the world, and then we'll be getting to Europe. We know that Europe is kind of crazy right now, so we're just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping that everything goes through. And last time we were over there, the shows were great, and there were a good amount of sold-out shows on that tour. So we're just hoping that, everything works out. We can get over there and, do the thing.
And you mentioned you'll be doing some shows in the States along with your headline tour in Europe early in the year. Do you have any further plans beyond that, or?
Well, we're doing the headliner in the States, and that is, I believe it starts January 5th, and it goes through till February 14th. We are going to do some Southeast Asia dates. We are going to do Mexico and some Central America dates. So as long as the world stays open and things go the way that they're supposed to go, it should be, a pretty busy year for Fit For An Autopsy.
Is there anyone that you haven't toured with that you would like to tour with?
Oh my God, so many bands. Off the top of my head, I would say Gojira. We're super heavily influenced by them, and we love the band. I don't know. We would like to go out with Lamb of God. We would like to go out with, we'll tour with just about anybody that, it can work with. But there's always a bunch. But, the bigger folks in the metal world would be amazing for us to get out and tour with.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you would like to throw in?
No, not really. Just, to everybody that's supported the band through COVID and been through all the, helped us get through and listen to the music and supported us through, streaming and, buying records and merch. We appreciate everything, and, hopefully everybody gives us a chance and listens to the new record. And, thanks for the support.
My last question I have for you, out of 6 albums, what would be the one album from Fit For An Autopsy you would suggest to a new fan, and why?
Man, I think The Great Collapse is an excellent starting point. I think it still holds on to some of the older stuff we were doing before we got to that record. And then it has a lot of hints of the newer stuff that we're headed towards. Everything that came before it was a little less melodic and a little bit more straightforward, from the first 3 records. And then that record was just a pretty big change for us. And then by the time we got off of that record into the new one, we were exploring a lot of different things. So it's a good lead-in, I think, for our later stuff, and then a good prep for our earlier stuff.
Awesome. That's about all the questions I got for you. I hope you guys have a great time and stay safe on your upcoming tour. Can't wait to hear the new album.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate the call, and thank you very much.